I have true people shot.
I never thought I'd be in that kind of situation.
Sad, shocking, and tragic day for our UVA community.
A community touched by darkness, illuminating one another's spirits with candlelight. UVA students and faith leaders held vigils last night in Charlottesville, remembering the 3 UVA football players shot and killed Sunday night.
We also learned 2 people were hurt. One will undergo surgery today. The suspect, Christopher Jones Jr., will be arraigned over video in Henrico County. That's where police caught up with him just before noon yesterday. And as we come on the air, our hearts are with the University of Virginia community. I'm Ashley Smith.
I'm Dan Kennedy. Our team is hard at work to help make sense, some sort of sense, of this tragedy. Casey Baylor has reaction from players and teammates, but first we begin with troubling new information about the suspect.
Alex Littlehales is covering that part of the story live from Charlottesville. Alex.
Dan, Ashley, so much has changed about this story within the last 24 hours. First, the growing number of flowers at the football stadium here in Charlottesville behind me. A little bit more on that later. But really the biggest change is that hours-long manhunt for UVA student Christopher Jones is now over. As of yesterday afternoon, authorities actually in the middle of that news conference with both university and law enforcement leaders getting that update mid-conference that authorities had arrested Jones in Henrico County. Like you mentioned, he will be arraigned a little bit later this afternoon. And there are some other new details that we learned from that press conference about the case itself. We learned that Jones had allegedly fired shots into a crowded bus with roughly 25 UVA students on that bus in the center of UVA's grounds. We also learned that there were some red flags raised a little earlier this year based on some comments Jones had made about gun possession, gun ownership, again, all of that coming forth just within the last day. And our partner station in Richmond actually spoke briefly with Jones's family yesterday, and according to the father, there was also something that may have been off as early as a month ago.
Because he was involved in a hazing investigation of some sort. I don't know the facts and circumstances of that investigation. I know that it was eventually closed due to witnesses that would not cooperate with the process. But through the course of the threat assessment team's investigation, we learned of a prior criminal incident involving a concealed weapon violation that occurred outside the city of Charlottesville in February of 2021.
Yeah, as police officials reiterated yesterday, Jones is charged with 3 counts of second-degree murder as well as the firearms charges that go along with them. He's, again, supposed to be arraigned in court in Henrico County a little later today, meaning a judge will read him officially those charges. Live in Charlottesville, I'm Alex Littlehales for 13 News Now.
Alex, thank you for your coverage during this tragedy. Investigators told us yesterday that the shooting happened again inside a charter bus Sunday night. That bus was towed away from the scene yesterday afternoon. A bullet hole clearly visible in the side window, as you just saw. The bus was bringing a group of students back from a field trip to see a play in Washington, D.C.
The UVA community and the whole nation is remembering the 3 victims who died Sunday night. Casey Baylor joins us to share more on these bright young men.
Yeah, Dan, many describe the players all in their 3rd year at the University of Virginia as magnetic people. Devin Chandler was a wide receiver on the football team. He transferred to UVA from the University of Wisconsin last year. Many of his friends call him an unbelievably nice person who always wore a smile. Deshaun Perry, a linebacker from Miami, Florida. His teammates describe him on social media as a gentle giant. They say he embodied resilience and perseverance. And then Lavelle Tyler Davis, a star wide receiver from Ridgeville, South Carolina, known for his love of his family and friends. Many say he had a shot at going to the NFL draft. Now, their losses hit many at UVA, including their teammates.
I just want to say there was 3 young, great men, on the way to become great.
And UVA professor Dr. Jack Hamilton also shared his sentiments. He says he taught both Chandler and Davis. Now, Dr. Hamilton says they both had a bright future ahead of them and says it was difficult to email his class about their passing. Dan, Ashley.
Casey, thank you. UVA athletics and the football program shared their heartache on social media last night, posting a statement from Virginia head football coach Tony Elliott. He said, quote, "They touched us, inspired us, and worked incredibly hard as representatives of our program, university, and community."
And students across the grounds are honoring the lives lost as well. Several fraternity houses raised Seville Strong banners high with the jersey numbers of the victims, 1, 15, and 41, displayed for all to see. Students say they know how important it is to stand together.
All felt like we needed to come together and try to support the community.
There are some expectations where everybody should feel safe and stuff like that, and so it was kind of scary, just the fact that everybody's feeling the same thing, and this impacted not just me but everybody else.
Breaking news update this afternoon. The arraignment hearing for the University of Virginia shooting suspect Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. is now postponed. Jones was scheduled to appear virtually before a judge in a general district court in Albemarle County this morning, but because the courts don't have the paperwork yet, the hearing couldn't move forward. The arraignment's now postponed until tomorrow at 9 in the morning. Jones faces several charges, including 3 counts of second-degree murder for that deadly shooting on UVA grounds late Sunday night that left 3 UVA football players dead. And as we wait for that hearing, we've already heard from top lawyers this morning on the deadly shooting and what happens next. U.S. Attorney Christopher Kavanaugh, along with Commonwealth Attorney for Charlottesville and Albemarle County, released a joint statement saying, quote, "The United States Attorney's Office for the Western District of Virginia and the Commonwealth Attorney's Offices for the City of Charlottesville and County of Albemarle are actively working with local, state, and federal law enforcement in their efforts to thoroughly investigate this tragic incident, and will bring you any potential charges in the appropriate jurisdiction."
Meanwhile, a memorial for the 3 victims who lost their lives in Sunday's shooting continues to grow on UVA's grounds. Alex Littlehales is live from Charlottesville, where students and staff are receiving comfort and support during this difficult time.
Alex, talk to us about the atmosphere that you're feeling out there right now.
Good afternoon, Bethany. Good afternoon, Ashley. Right now, there is just a lot of reflection and a lot of healing that is visible throughout campus right now. And this is one of the spots that we've seen grow a lot over the last 12 hours. This is the north gate of the football stadium here on the grounds of the University of Virginia. As you can see behind me, just a growing number of flowers paying tribute, like you mentioned, to those 3 UVA football players shot and killed. But I also want to show you another location that we just came from a little bit far away. It's the train overpass on Rugby Road. It's one of the more well-traveled roads here on the grounds of UVA. And you can see that the face of that train overpass is now painted orange. And you could see from that video students coming there, dropping off flowers, just being silent and taking in a moment of silence, paying respect, again, to those 3 UVA football players shot and killed. And with classes now canceled, the school has now really focused a lot of their attention on making sure that it gives the resources for the students here to heal and to try to find some sense of normalcy. There's grief counselors working today. There's therapy dogs as well. And we actually caught up with the handlers of those therapy animals today. And they talked a little bit about sort of their role today and how they're trying to bring that sense of normal back to students here.
A lot of these students are away from home and away from their family pets that would give them comfort. Time and time again, we've worked at UVA and found students coming in, hugging Willow or any other dog and talking about how it makes them think of home.
And for anyone who may have family or students here on the grounds of UVA, those grief counselors and therapy animals will be at the Family Advocate Center here on the grounds until 8 tonight. Live in Charlottesville, I'm Alex Littlehales for 13 News Now.
Okay, Alex, thank you for that. And as we see more images coming out of Charlottesville, One thing you may have noticed is the jersey numbers for the 3 victims killed, 1, 15, and 41. We're learning more about the names behind those numbers. So take a look at this. This was signing day for Deshaun Perry back in 2018. He was a high school kid at the time, playing football for a private school near Miami. And even after he graduated, the school's president said Perry would return to campus to mentor students. The University of Miami head coach reacting to the news, saying everyone is grieving for them. And Devin Chandler graduated from a high school outside of Charlotte. He transferred to UVA from the University of Wisconsin. His coach says Chandler would celebrate his teammates' success as if it were his own. And nearly $70,000 have been raised for the family of Lavelle Davis Jr., who they called Tyler. A friend of the family said, quote, "The world was seeing what we had known for a long time, that he was a talented, one-of-a-kind kid."
We all heal in our own ways.
And this is a way of showing support when you can.
And on a day of healing at the University of Virginia, many students found their healing also brought them together.
Holding some bouquet of flowers for the people who recently passed in Charlottesville.
Bouquets of flowers now line the grounds across UVA, each petal a token to show this community won't forget these names.
A token of respect, absolutely.
Lavelle Davis, Deshaun Perry, and Devin Chandler are the 3 UVA football players shot and killed this weekend. Authorities say Christopher Jones is the man who fired the gun. Days after the deadly triple shooting, UVA students took Tuesday as a day to heal.
Today was another day. It was a little bit easier, but it's going to continue to be hard for some time until we can really get to the problem of all this and prevent it from happening again.
Luke is only one of the hundreds who took the time to honor the lives lost in this way.
It's making sure, I'm doing a part.
The small part Luke and others
can do
to carry on. In Charlottesville, Alex Littlehales for 13 News Now.
Governor Glenn Youngkin stopped by the memorial at Scott Stadium today. Our crew watched as he laid flowers outside the North Gate and paused to remember the victims. He became emotional when asked about the shooting and said what happened Sunday night is horrific.
Got 3 young men whose lives were cut so short. It's a moment for all of us to recognize that families are going to need to be supported, and the community here needs to be supported. It's just horrific.
The governor also thanked the law enforcement officers who spent hours searching for the suspect and arrested him in Henrico County. Youngkin also shared his support for the 2 students who are still recovering in the hospital.
We are learning more about the man who police say is responsible for the shooting. UVA administrators say the school's threat assessment team started looking into Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. this semester. Allison Basil live on the grounds of UVA to explain why.
UVA officials and investigators are still trying to figure out what could have motivated Christopher Jones to allegedly shoot 5 of his classmates Sunday night. UVA Police Chief Tim Longo says in September, someone reported that Jones might have a gun. Now, Chief Longo says the person who reported it is not involved with the university and never saw Jones with a gun. Chief Longo says the Office of Student Affairs tried to contact Jones and also got in touch with his roommate, who said they didn't see a weapon. The threat assessment team also looked into a hazing investigation involving Jones in some way. Chief Longo had limited details and said the investigation closed because the witnesses did not cooperate. UVA police learned Jones had a concealed weapons violation in another city. Chief Longo says the university is still looking into that.
What's interesting about that case is he's required as a student at the University of Virginia to report that, and he never did. And so the university has taken appropriate administrative charges through the university's Judiciary Council, and that matter is still pending adjudication.
Ryan Lynch says about 30 minutes before the shooting, she encountered Christopher Jones as she walked to the back of the bus to use the bathroom. Their conversation went like this.
And I saw him while I was walking back, and I said, "Hey, Chris, did you do the fashion show? How are you doing any of the modeling?" And he told me that he was too busy and there was too much going on. And I said, There's one in the spring, you should try and do that one with me. And he told me he would try and do it with me. So he was very calm.
Lynch said as the bus pulled into a school parking lot, she started to grab her things.
And then I just started hearing gunshots coming from the back of the bus. I had no idea what it was at first. I thought it was chips or like balloons. I was really confused.
After a fourth gunshot, Lynch says a cloud of smoke filled the bus.
I knew there was something really bad happening.
There was confusion. People were screaming. The gunshots ringing in her ears, getting louder.
I thought he was going to shoot me too, and I just sat there quiet, still, didn't say anything.
Ryan and a friend are certified in CPR, and they jumped in to try and help the victims.
And so she checked his pulse, and it was very faint, and I was checking his body, and he had gunshots.
Realizing you can't move a gunshot victim, Ryan ran to get help.
We said to him, we're trying to help you. We're going to get help for you. There's nothing we can do, but we're going to get help for you.
University leaders are doing what they can to support students during this tough time.
They are providing counseling services and asking for leniency in the classroom. Sarah Hammond is at UVA tonight with what students can expect before leaving for the Thanksgiving break.
The rainy and dark weather here in Charlottesville reflects the mood of the grieving UVA students and teachers. School leaders canceled classes again on Tuesday as the community continues to grapple with the loss of 3 of their own.
This is an unimaginably sad day for our community.
During Monday morning's news conference, UVA President Jim Ryan acknowledged the long grieving process ahead. The university is offering extended counseling resources and spaces to gather together. Ryan's latest update said classes will resume Wednesday on a normal schedule. However, there will be no graded assignments or exams before the Thanksgiving break. He's also asking faculty to be lenient with attendance. Local Charlottesville psychologist Amanda Sovic-Johnston says that will lift a big burden off their shoulders.
They're scared right now, and we know that when people are scared, they can't focus, they can't concentrate.
She says the aftermath of a tragedy like this leaves young people feeling disoriented.
They're going to have a full range of emotions, and it's really important for them to know that all of those emotions are okay and normal.
As students return home for the holidays, Sovic-Johnston wants families to know that although they might want to ask a lot of questions and hold their children tight, you need to let them grieve in their own way.
They're going to be with the people that they love the most, but also people that didn't go through this trauma with them.
She says if any kind of worrisome behavior continues weeks or months after this tragedy, that's when it might be time to seek help. But in the coming week, parents need to be patient with their kids. Sarah Hammond, 13 News Now.
The suspect, 22-year-old Christopher Jones Jr., is behind bars at the Albemarle Regional Jail tonight. His arraignment was pushed back until tomorrow. He faces second-degree murder charges. We also know Jones is a former UVA football player. This afternoon, leaders with the football program spoke for the first time about the shooting.
They discussed how the loss has impacted the team and their plans moving forward. Connor Reel picks up our team coverage in the studio now. Connor.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. David, a somber press conference today from head coach Tony Elliott and athletic director Carla Williams. The two spoke about focusing on togetherness during this time. Elliott, in particular, talked a lot about making sure none of his players become isolated in the coming days, getting eyes on them every day. They referenced the counseling available to student athletes, but also touched on the fact that there is no playbook for a situation like this.
The first meeting was really tough. You know, really tough. Today was much better. You know, we were able to transition from the pain to finding a little bit of joy in celebrating the lives of Lavelle, Deshaun, and Devin.
You know, they were asked what kind of questions the players have been asking them Coach Elliott said they've been asking nonstop about the families of their teammates who passed away. Now, also included in this press conference was the fact that no decision has been made at this time regarding their upcoming game on Saturday. That will be a decision between team, staff, and administrators. David, Nicole, back to you.